The world watched with bated breath as Donald Trump secured his return to the White House in the tumultuous 2024 election. The victory was narrow, but the impact was immediate. Stock markets, perhaps sensing a return to familiar territory, surged. Bitcoin, that digital bellwether of political uncertainty, shot past the $75,000 mark. The political establishment reeled, but Trump, never one for subtlety, was already setting his sights on a radically different America and world. Trump's victory speech was a familiar cocktail of triumphalism and grievance. He railed against the deep state and promised to make America great again. His words, echoing his 2016 campaign, nevertheless landed differently in 2024. The world had changed, America had changed, but Trump, it seemed, had not. The global reaction was a mixture of disbelief and trepidation. Allies were left wondering about the future of long-standing partnerships. Adversaries, emboldened by the perceived shift in American power, began to flex their muscles on the world stage. From the halls of the European Union to the bustling marketplaces of Asia, one question hung in the air. What would a Trump presidency 2.0 mean for the world? The answer, like so many things in the age of Trump, was shrouded in uncertainty. But one thing was clear: the world was holding its breath, bracing for a future that promised to be anything but ordinary. The business world, accustomed to navigating the turbulent waters of global trade, found itself facing a familiar squall: Trump's protectionist policies. Tariffs, once a blunt instrument wielded with unpredictable fury, were back on the table. The specter of a trade war with China, a defining feature of Trump's first term, loomed large. American businesses, particularly those with intricate supply chains woven through the global economy, braced for disruption. The price of imported goods, already feeling the pressure of a volatile global market, threatened to climb even higher. The promise of deregulation, music to the ears of some industries, was met with cautious optimism by others, who feared a rollback of environmental and labor protections. The impact was felt far beyond American shores. China, the target of many of Trump's trade salvos, promised retaliation, setting the stage for a tit-for-tat trade war that could roil global markets. The European Union, still smarting from Trump's earlier trade skirmishes, found itself once again caught in the crossfire. In boardrooms across the world, executives huddled, poring over spreadsheets and scenario planning for a future fraught with uncertainty. The old rules of global trade, already strained by geopolitical tensions and the lingering effects of the pandemic, seemed to be crumbling. The new rules, dictated by the whims of an unpredictable president, were yet to be written. Trump's promise to build a wall along the US-Mexico border had been a defining feature of his 2016 campaign, a potent symbol of his hardline stance on immigration. In his second act, the wall, both literal and metaphorical, cast an even longer shadow. Trump, emboldened by his victory and seemingly unchastened by the controversies of his first term, doubled down on his anti-immigration rhetoric. He promised a crackdown on illegal immigration, vowing to ramp up deportations and further militarize the border. Legal immigration pathways, already narrowed under his previous administration, faced further restrictions. The message was clear: America, under Trump, would be a less welcoming place for immigrants. The impact was immediate and devastating. Families were torn apart, their dreams of a better life dashed against the unforgiving reality of Trump's immigration policies. Businesses, particularly in sectors like agriculture and hospitality that rely heavily on immigrant labor, faced critical staffing shortages. The human cost of Trump's policies was impossible to ignore. Stories of families separated at the border, of children held in detention centers, filled the airwaves, sparking outrage and protests across the country and around the world. But Trump, seemingly immune to the criticism, pressed on, determined to remake America in his image, a country where the doors were closed to those seeking a better life. The tech industry, that engine of American innovation, watched with a mixture of anticipation and apprehension as Trump returned to power. Trump's stance on tech had always been a curious mix of boosterism and suspicion. He praised Silicon Valley's entrepreneurial spirit while simultaneously railing against its perceived liberal bias. Under Trump 2.0, the tech sector braced for a new era of deregulation. The Trump administration promised to roll back regulations that it argued stifled innovation, but Critics feared that such moves would come at the expense of consumer privacy and online safety. One of the most significant developments was the Stargate initiative, a massive government program aimed at bolstering American dominance in artificial intelligence. The initiative, shrouded in secrecy, promised to revolutionize everything from national security to healthcare. But it also raised concerns about the ethical implications of unchecked AI development, particularly in the hands of a president with authoritarian tendencies. The global tech community watched with a mixture of fascination and trepidation. Some saw opportunity in the shifting landscape, a chance to capitalize on the deregulation and government funding flowing into the sector. Others worried about the potential consequences of unchecked technological advancement, particularly in a world increasingly defined by geopolitical rivalry and distrust.